Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to this conference. It's a really great pleasure and honor to respond to these three fascinating presentations by Professor Wang Jin and Li Wenqi, and Professor Lee Jong-uk, and Professor Miyagawa. Although they came from different institutional and cultural contexts, China, Korea, and Japan, together they form a remarkably coherent picture of how artificial intelligence is transforming our relationship to archives, heritage, and textual knowledge. So let me start with some common grounds. Across all three talks, I was struck by a shared conviction that AI is not merely a tool, but a new medium of thought, a force that reshapes the very ontology of cultural heritage. Professor Wang Jin and Li Wenqi call this the third liberation of knowledge, a stage when information is freed from fixed textual representation and becomes fluid across text, sound, image, and video. Professor Lee Jong-uk presents AI as an integrative infrastructure linking 3D scanning, digital tools, and data visualization into a living ecosystem of heritage archive. And Professor Miyagawa demonstrates how large language models can perform philological reasoning, uncovering hidden quotations and allusions in Coptic text that were invisible to earlier computational tools. This matters because it resists both technological determinism, which is the belief that one perfect algorithm can solve everything, and humanistic skepticism, which dismisses computational methods as inadequate. Instead, the three scholars propose a collaborative framework. Computational tools generate possibilities, and human expertise abdicates the meaning. So there's very interesting methodological convergence. In terms of a method, all three presentations embody the interdisciplinary spirit of digital humanities. They combine humanistic interpretation with computational modeling, and they share a deep commitment to public engagement. Professor Wang Jin and Li Wenqi say AI-based creative competition opened classical text to students and artists around the world. Professor Lee Jong-uk's National Digital Heritage Platform enables open access, visualization, and international interoperability. Professor Miyagawa's Thought AI chatbot even support language revitalization, helping new learners engage with the Coptic culture through translation and music. I love the music. And here, we see the democratization of heritage knowledge. Archives become not just repositories, but social interfaces. And at the same time, this project reveals fascinating differences in emphasis across East Asia. The Chinese approach emphasizes creative reinterpretation, AI as a catalyst for aesthetic imagination and cultural renewal. The Korean approach foregrounds technological infrastructure and international standards. The archive as an interoperable ecosystem. The Japanese, although Professor Miyagawa studied in Germany, approach focuses on linguistic precision and intertextual interpretation, AI as a philological intelligence. If we view them together, we see a full life cycle of digital heritage: creation, preservation, and interpretation. This regional diversity is not fragmentation, it's a complementarity. So it was really, really inspiring. So let me add some questions, but honestly, I don't know what to add because all the papers are all already perfect, but let me just do my homework. So first question is for Professor Wang Jin and Li Wenqi. Every media shift produces a meaning shift. As you move from digitization to generative intelligence, what happens to the idea of authenticity? Because you focus on creativity a lot. So when your AI paints new Song Dynasty style images, are we still studying the past or co-creating a new one? How do we distinguish between interpretation and invention? And the other thing, I have another question, is a kind of personal, is that the Beijing University scanned all Harvard Yenching Library Chinese collections. I'm wondering if you did also rare book in Korean collection at Yenching. So it's my first question. Should I just finish? Or so second question is Professor Lee Jong-woo. 한국 사람끼리 영어로. There seems to be the methodological tension between standardization and imagination. Your work requires rigorous metadata standards and interoperability essential for preservation. By contrast, Professor Wang Jun's work deliberately break those boundaries to enable aesthetic freedom. Can he design frameworks flexible enough to support both precision and creative freedom? Yes, and my second question, I have another second question after your talk, and I'm wondering if the great platform is available for general public. I'm wondering if my students can use your platform. That's my second question. And the third one is for Professor Miyagawa. Does AI demonstrate that large language models can detect semantic allusions and traditional tools like tracer or PASM cannot previously? How should we rethink the boundaries of evidence interpretation in digital philology when AI finds intertextual connections beyond lexical similarity? Because I think sometimes they are smarter than us. Yeah. So let me finish with a few closing remarks. What unites these three fascinating studies is an emerging East Asian philosophy of digital heritage, one that thrusts AI not as an extractive technology, but as a digital partner. It emphasizes continuity, coexistence, and the living transmission of knowledge. Instead of viewing archives as frozen evidence of the past, these researchers reimagine them as living ecologists, open to reinterpretation, participation, and renewal. Once again, thank you very much for sharing your inspiring and thought-provoking research.
Thank you, Professor Yu, for your insightful reflection and discuss questions. Now we want to hear from Professor Ung-Chul Shin. Professor Shin, please.
Okay, I'm Shin Ung-Chul from Hanbat National University. I'm honored to be the discussant for these three excellent presentations. I have long believed that a core value of digital humanities is ensuring the sustainability and interoperability of our data. To me, this means using open standards like TEI, XML for text, and IIIF for images. From this perspective, I would like to offer my comments and questions for the three presentations. First, for the presentation by Professors Wang and Lee, the high-level, insightful framework of the three liberations of knowledge is extremely impressive. I am deeply impressed by Peking University DH Center's vision and practice, which spans the entire digital humanities workflow, from large-scale digitization platforms for ancient books like Ku-Kadh and Wu-Ji, to creative reimagination using AI, as seen in the AI creative competition. My question concerned the Ku-Kadh and Wu-Ji platform, which is core to the second liberation. What data standards do the vast textual corpora of ancient books on this platform adhere to? For example, I am wondering if you have adopted an open standard like TEI XML, which is common in my field, or if you are using a proprietary database schema. You spoke of the third liberation enabling fluid transformation between text, image, and video as a foundation for this interoperability. How is the source image data of the ancient books solved? I am curious if you are using an open standard like IIIF to solve the images and link them with the textual data. I believe this would be a critical foundation for AI to access diverse sources and produce creative results. Next, I will turn to Professor Lee's second presentation. This is an excellent presentation that systematically surveys AI-based recording and archiving methodology, such as 3D scanning, motion capture, BIM, and digital twins across all types of heritage. I particularly resonate with the presentation of digital curation, lifecycle model, and the clear emphasis on the importance of open standards like IIIF and the European data model. I was very impressed by your emphasis on IIIF for image interoperability and the European model for metadata exchange. You also gave significant attention to the text analysis of documentary heritage beyond the standards for image and metadata. I am wondering what consideration you have for adopting a standard for structuring and preserving the text itself. Complex 3D architectural models like BIM or digital twins contains vast amounts of data in their own right. Do you have a vision or know of any precedents for how this 3D model data can be linked with other open standards, such as IIIF or TEI, to build a truly integrated heritage archive? Finally, regarding the third presentation by Professor Miyagawa, this is a very impressive presentation that builds upon robust existing digital philological assets like Coptic scriptorium to compare traditional text reuse detection tools, tracer, PASM, with the performance of model LLM, specifically the RAG-enhanced TOS AI, the achievement of TOS AI in discovering new allusions missed by previous methods clearly demonstrate the potential of AI for classical philology. I understand that Coptic scriptorium is built on TEI XML. Are the external knowledge repositories used by TOS AI for RAG also structured in a standardized format like TEI, or are they plain text databases? I am curious about how standardized markup data can be leveraged to enhance LLM performance. How do you plan to manage and share the results of the newly discovered textual reuse found by Tracer, PASM, and TOS AI? My concern is whether this valuable data will remain only as table in a paper, or if there are plans to integrate these findings back into the source text corpus as standoff annotations, or via another standardized method, ensuring their sustainable use by other researchers. These three presentations have shown us a future for digital humanities as it moves beyond simply preserving the heritage of the past toward interpreting and recreating it through AI. I am convinced that the open standard discussed today, such as TEI and IIIF, will serve as the most robust foundation supporting all this creative activity and passing it on the future generations. Thank you all again for these inspiring presentations.
Thank you, Professor Shen, for your constructive commentary. And now let's hear from presenters. I am very sorry, but you can use only 2 or 3 minutes to answer. So please be very brief. And thank you for your understanding. We can use 5 more minutes or so. Is it okay? Thank you very much. Then from Professor Wang, yes, 3 minutes, please.
Okay.
Or 4 minutes.
Yeah. As to the question from the lady, he mentioned the authenticity of the artwork and the related to the creation by the audience. If the security measure is still good enough, if you visit the France Museum, the Louvre, we can still see the picture of Mona Lisa. You know, there is a understanding that there are 1,000 Mona Lisa in 1,000 mind. When the audience come to face the Mona Lisa, his understanding is based on his own background, his own emotional experience and viewpoint. But in the traditional sense, all this impression is confined in his own mind. But with AI, he can express himself in this engaging, interactive creation process. And the new created his own work is authentic to his own self, to his true self. So I think it doesn't impact the authenticity of the artwork, because even for artwork, it doesn't have the fixed meaning or the fixed expression. It depends on the interaction between the audience and the artwork. For the second question, we collaborate with Harvard Yanqing University. They donate the scanned image of their Asian book to us, and we upload to our platform. Then the whole process is automatic, from OCR, punctuation, and name identity extraction, even to the knowledge graph construction. All are done by AI. Then the volunteer can have the result checked. So if we can collaborate with Korean university, it's no problem. You can, but you need to scan your book by your university. Then you can just upload from here and have the AI to do the following work. But I'm not sure whether the Chinese large language model can deal with the Korean language. So we can build a collaboration or project.
Thank you very much. Professor Wang Xun also mentioned the very core value of intertextuality, because everything is relying on our interpretation, right?
Yeah.
So it's a reminder also the concept of what is true or false. We keep creating. And
Let's
Korean
give
railway collection-
presenters more time, please. Sorry, I'm very sorry. We have lunchtime
Sorry.
to communicate.
As to the question from the gentleman, we don't apply the TI standard because it's too complicated. We use a simplified version derived from TI, but we still use XML. You can download the text freely in XML, and you can convert it to your standard for your purpose. As the second question related to the triple AI, we don't apply triple AI because, although there are many scanned page for Asian book online, but actually for the library is the owner of the biggest collection. But most of the library in China doesn't allow you to download the scanned page freely, because every library thinks it's its own assets. But there are also some the business company that build the Asian book database, but you need to pay. we build a freely access and public platform for public to access the Asian book freely. And you can also download the image. So I think in current situation, it has a better situation for building the interoperability between different institutions. So now our policy is that you can download freely, but we haven't built the interoperability framework among different institutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Wang, for your answers. And let's hear from Professor Lee. Please begin.
Thank you for your question. When considering digital heritage as public data, main user will be the curators and stakeholders of memory institutions such as the museum and gallery and archives. So to integrate their institutions, the data, we need the common standard such as the IIIF. But as you see my digital heritage curation process, the data creation and refinement and management is conducted by institution, but the utilization and dissemination and reuse is conducted by general public. So ultimately, the data reuse cannot be achieved without the participation of general public, as the current users are ultimately the ones that determine heritage value. With the advancement of AI analysis technology and the concept of semantics and semantic technology, we will anticipate a situation where data intent can be interpreted and automatically mapped. So now we can focus on the institution's common standard, but in the future, the AI can interpret and map the data intent to the users' the requirement.
Professor?
Yeah. Therefore, when ordinary people begin to create and produce the digital heritage data, and we will be able to focus on the creative activities with the digital heritage data. Is it enough? Yes. And I want to reply about the second question.
Very briefly, please.
Yes. IIIF is focused on the high definition images, and they are thinking about the 3D standardization and video standardization, and European Foundation is also have a discussion about that. For the VIM data, we can talk about the CTGML standard, which is the visualize the terrains and building information on the web. But I think we need a more discussion about another 3D data standard. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Lee, for your answers. Finally, we can hear from Professor Miyagawa.
Okay.
Please begin.
Okay, thank you. So first, for the question by Professor Jamie Jiangming Yu, thank you so much. This is a very great question, and I cannot solve it. But about the boundary in intertextuality is very difficult to define. There are many people who try to find quotations and allusions and so on. There are several prototypes of quotations, allusions, and paraphrases, but it is very difficult to find the boundaries between quotation and allusion. If quotation is very altered or changed, like in Coptic text, many biblical scholars find quotations and allusions in New Testament from the Old Testament, but sometimes if you see the Bible with their annotations, you can find like quotation, but it can be quotation or not, or like allusion, or it is quite depending on the interpretation of the scholar or maestro in this field. I think like quotation allusions and so on are kind of in the relationship of family resemblance. This idea was created by Wittgenstein, but it is so difficult to do it, and also difficult to digitize. So this part to interpret is like I think we cannot trust AI, but sometimes but Tough AI can do it somehow. But we need to final decision by humans. We need to consider it more and think about it more and discuss more about the interpretation problem of intertextuality. And thank you so much. And it will be the kind of the problem to solve in the digital philology. And for the question from the Shin Sensei, Shin Won Chal 선생님, thank you. I know he's my former colleague from Hokkaido University, so and also Kyoto University. I didn't mention, but it is very important that we created our corpora in TI-XML, especially Coptic Scriptorium created. It provides all the corpora in TI-XML, and we also use like tools for TI-XML. The standardization of the annotations, tagging of humanities text is very important, especially to use. It's important to use like more standardized framework like TI-XML guidelines for the sustainability of the data and also more compatibility of data. Also, it is well said for IIIF. We are also using IIIF for, I just skip it, but on the editor, we just transcribe text using IIIF images sometimes. It's very important. And also to vectorize the data, the TI data, also the Coptic Comprehensive Lexicon is created in TI XML format. And to compare the TI and like a CSV text as a knowledge and to vectorize them for RAG, I found like TI XML is better, had better results. So I don't know, I cannot explain it, but I think more like structurized data is good for vectorization and also for knowledge of RAG. Yeah.
Thank you, Professor Miyagawa. And thank you, Professor Yu and Shin and all presenters for your insightful and constructive dialogue. Due to the time issues, we cannot, I'm very sorry, but we cannot move on to the floor discussion. But we have whole lunch time to communicate each other. So you can freely ask our presenters for this wonderful presentation. So please understand. So that concludes session 3, Digital Archives and Cultural Heritage. I'd like to extend my sincere thanks to our presenters, discussant, and all the guests in the floor. So we will now have 1 hour break for lunch. The next session will be beginning at 1:30 p.m. Please return on time so that we can continue our academic exchange. So our lunchbox is ready. You can grab your lunchbox, but you cannot eat the lunchbox here. So please use it outside this hall, and our presenters and discussants and our faculty members can use L Lounge. It will be second floor of this building. Our assistant will guide you to the place. So, okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for this session. Thank you.